This is a story I heard on Car Talk on the wireless several years ago. I miss that show. Bob and Ray. A young guy walks into an auto parts dealer. The counterman asks what he's looking for. The guy says, "I don't know anything about cars. Dad's gonna be angry. I need a 710 cap." The parts guy looks at him and says, "I don't know what that is. What does it do?" The customer says, "My father lets me drive the spare car, but I'm supposed to open the hood each time, make sure all the parts are where they're supposed to be, stay familiar enough to see if everything looks wrong. The 710 cap is the first thing I see and it's missing." The counterman has one idea. He says, "Is it an older Datsun? There was a 710 model." The young man says, "No, it's a Ford." Partsmonger says, "Can you describe it at least?" He says, "Sure." It sits right in front of the engine. It's maybe 2 inches round. It's got a couple of tabs on the side. And right in the middle, it says 710. This is reframing. As I point out often, words do have meaning, and some paintings would look better in a more attractive frame, right? That's reframing. Some posters mass taped to the wall would still be in poor taste or ugly or evoke nothing in you, even framed in aged pewter, right? So let's do a thought experiment, a common and simple way to elicit critical thinking. You've just moved into a new neighborhood. You're exercising your dog after dark. 150-pound Tuzak could be mistaken for a gorilla in the dark, but you're a responsible guy with baggies at the ready. You notice a house that's set back from the street. It's got big bay windows uncovered, just enough light inside for you to see, and you think, "What the hell?" Because clearly some guy is attacking a woman in there, so you call the police. Or you notice the neighbors on the porch next door daydreaming, just in case a neighbor might know more than you do. And anyway, in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established. New Testament. You yell out, "Oh, I think we need to call the police." But her neighbor says, "Well, I know this is weird, but they're okay. Nobody's getting hurt. They've been married for 8 months and sometimes they forget to close the blinds on Saturday nights." So you're right to trust the evidence of your own eyes, especially when it's time to act and you the only willing actor in a listless sea of timid people. Reframing gives you the ability to grasp more of multifaceted truths in social environments because human behavior is complicated. Sometimes you have all the facts and factors, but they're not well organized, so you do silly things just because everybody else does. Think this through with me. When you learn math, you start with basics and you advance as you can. Now, is there a school of thinking or education in which lots of times the teacher was giving you the wrong basics? So you try to develop skills from the beginning while being tricked into making mistakes right off the bat? Would that make any kind of sense? Or would it just slow down how long it takes for you to get to geometry? Now, next question. You've probably heard or can agree with the idea that the quickest way to learn a language, a human language, isn't a few hours a week with an app, it's total immersion, right? Once again, might there be some kind of sense in a language school that was total immersion, but lots of times the native speakers in the environment would deliberately mispronounce common words? Perhaps there would be some hidden benefit to learning under the psychological stress of having people screw with your head? So why do we teach babies to talk in our society this way, and why is it a good way to make it harder? How much time do elementary teachers spend correcting reinforced behaviors that are just wrong? Don't educators have enough to do already while you won't pass another school bond issue? My son's mom and I never talked down to him in any sense, ever. Unless he was in trouble. While others learned a letter each day from children's programming, I guess, Finian learned the words and phrases crawling across the bottom of the screen while CNN and MSNBC were saying them. That's total immersion. He was reading before he went to school, and now he's bright like a fluorescent bulb sparking up on the first time you hear Reveille in boot camp. He's scary smart. That's reframing and critical thinking. Here's one more example, but it's a suggestion with 2 parts. Boise has really good parks, as you'll see everywhere on my website, but not everywhere in Boise. I burn too much gas when I need to be in a park because in Boise, there's too few, too far apart. I say I need to be in a park, but that doesn't mean my anxiety or depression subsides within the jurisdiction of Boise's hard-working Parks Department. I just want grass, shade trees if possible, open space, a couple park benches. That's a park, isn't it? In 1979, I spent a summer in a fishing village called Dillingham, Alaska. In the center of town, as I remember it, there was a triangular patch of grass between where 3 unpaved roads ran. It was big enough for 1 park bench, not 2, and a few standers. They called it Central Park. If you drive north on Orchard here in Boise, or for a better view east on Overland, going downhill while passing the Hillcrest Shopping Center parking lot, you may have noticed a good-sized grassy rectangle where a building once stood. If a few stores bought picnic benches, maybe set up a sun shelter, got some worthy PR out of it, plus, more importantly, demonstrated a little community spirit, kids in the neighborhood would have one more option. Is there anything wrong with more options? Here's why that doesn't happen more often and how, with a small change, it easily could. People aren't responsible. They don't pick up after themselves or their spouse weight dogs. If your husband got drunk one night and accidentally took a dump out in front of Walmart, would you just leave it? If you would, please don't own a dog, okay? Because it wouldn't be the good-hearted management picking up after ungrateful slobs in my scenario. It would be another slob grateful for his $9 an hour job as the janitor. That may sound petty, but bear in mind, for the second half of this suggestion, that picking up trash, containers, plastic left over from a party of fools is different from dog shit. That is the #1 reason why property owners are so conscious of borders, just by fixing one attitudinal thing. It would be easy if we could hear jokes based on some variation of, "Hey kids, come play on my lawn, it's just grass." My name's Jim McGill. I live in a green era. Almost everything of mine here is simple reframing.